Boxing's Bell to Bell, episode 84. We're back after quite a lengthy summer break. I don't know, boxing stopped, but Tyson Fury's retired. He hasn't retired. He's going to fight for nothing. He's going to do this. A lot's happened while we've been away, but I'm sure we're going to be talking about that during the pod. If you can leave us a review on YouTube or iTunes, that would be fantastic. We'd really appreciate it. Everybody at VIP Boxing would. And subscribe to the VIP YouTube channel. The first VIP show is this weekend in Blackpool. A great show there that Steve Wood's putting on there. And there's a whisper that Tyson Fury might be rocking up there. We'll see. Anyway, a couple of familiar faces tonight that everyone in boxing knows. My good pal and co-host of this, John Evans, and of course, this week's guest, unbeaten super featherweight hope, Aqib Fiaz. First of all, John, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've been ploughing on with the work while you've been jetting around sunning yourself in your various holiday homes.
Oh, here we go.
Good to have the podcast back.
Here we go. Take no notice of Aqib anyway.
Well, it's all right.
I might have been at holiday. John's been pretending he's busy, and you must be getting busy because I understand. Steve Wood has told me you got a slot on the Bivol Ramirez bill in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, been training for that class. Great opportunity for me. Great experience as well. Yeah, so I'm training hard. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's going for it. I mean, you last box, I think, at AJ Bell Stadium, didn't you? You had a 6-rounder.
Yeah.
I saw you there last time I saw you.
That was yeah, not the last one, the one before, and then I got the one in August as well. A boxing at the Sheffield Arena as well, yeah.
I didn't know you was on that bill. I was away then, as John will say. John had digged
yeah.
I saw you, the little guy, Christian Narvaez, who comes over and fights all the time.
Yeah. That was my first one back in about 12 months, that one, because I had my hand operation and stuff, so that was just a little to get back in the groove of things, yeah.
He's a nightmare to fight him. He's only about 5'2", and he crouches, and you're like boxing someone who's 2 foot tall. No wonder he's never been knocked out hardly.
Yeah, no, he was hard to pin down. Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah. Aqib, do you reckon the people who see you on the Matchroom shows, do you reckon we're about to see the real Aqib Fiaz now? There was little glimpses in Sheffield that you were more comfortable and it was all starting to come back after the hand and the sad thing with your mum. Do you think we're ready to see now the true Aqib Fiaz when he gets this next stage?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I did well as an amateur, and anyone who saw me as an amateur was excited about me turning pro. And then I sort of had obviously it was unfortunate, last year and stuff. But, I feel like I'm coming, I'm back now, and I'm in a different sort of mindset now compared to before. I think probably even better than before now. I'm much stronger mentally, and I feel like I've matured a lot as well, yeah. So definitely I agree with that, John, yeah.
I also, something that not many people will know, but I think it was your second pro fight, the toughest fight anyone's had for the second pro fight. You got Ben Fields, a stone above your natural weight on a day's notice, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought that at like 19, I was 19 then. 19-year-old. I remember sold a bunch of tickets. My original opponent pulled out, and Steve said, "Oh, this is the only person I could get." I said to Jamie, "What do you think?" And Jamie was like, "You win, but it's going to be hard, Aqib." And I says, "I'm not giving all these tickets back." So we ended up going ahead with it. Probably shouldn't have, to be fair, thinking back. But then again, it was a good learning curve, yeah. So yeah, it was a tough one, that.
I think Ben Fields is top of the bill this Saturday in Blackpool.
Yeah, that's when Fields was turning everybody over as well, wasn't it? It was the VIP upsetter. He was beating everybody at the time, and yeah, it's a brilliant win, that.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, yeah, but we got the win.
All right, well, so we'll crack on with the podcast. What happens here, Aqib? We speak for 3 minutes on each subject. At the end of 3 minutes, John has a bell. He rings that loud, and even if you're mid-sentence, you have to shut it up. And he told me, I know he's off to see you next week. He won't come and see you if you keep talking after the minute. I know, he won't come and see you again.
Not like it, yeah?
Yeah, he hasn't spoke to Nigel Travis for months. And it wasn't because Nigel pulled his pants down. It's because he spoke over more than 3 minutes. And that's the problem you get.
Oh, well, that's not entirely a bad thing. I bet John's it's been a bit more peaceful, like not talking tonight.
Great from Nige, yeah.
John, have you got your bell ready?
Everything's ready, yeah.
John, will you start us off? You want to talk about making Deontay Wilder and Ruiz?
Yeah, really good heavyweight fights at the minute. I'm enjoying it. The heavyweight division can be hit and miss, can't it, over the years? But I think we're in a really good spell at the minute. And I think Wilder and Ruiz, Wilder Joshua and Wilder Ruiz are the two most exciting fights I think can be made at heavyweight. You know, Ruiz looked pretty good against Luis Ortiz. He was in reasonable shape, but fit enough to do the 12 rounds. He's got those explosive fast hands. He's got power. And the thing that Wilder and Ruiz have both shown, they've got that heart, haven't they? They'll both get up off the floor and carry on trying to win. I just think the styles, Wilder and Ruiz, is absolutely made for each other. It might be a short, explosive fight where one of them gets done early, or it could be a real up and downer for 7-8 rounds. But I think whatever happens, you're not going to get a dull fight. And I just think it's the natural next fight to make at heavyweight.
Yeah, I agree with you there, John. That's what heavyweight boxing is all about. When it's one of them where it definitely won't go 12 rounds. It could go in one. It could go in. Yeah, that's a great fight. I agree with you that one. That'd be something that I'd definitely tune in, and I think a lot of people would. Yeah.
You know what? Before I get the styles you say, John. I think before we get carried away, we've got to see what Deontay Wilder has got left against Robert Lillis. Now, I think if he's got plenty left, you know, and he still shows he's a force at heavyweight, and I hope he is, because I'm a real Deontay Wilder fan. I love him. He's a murderous puncher, and you know what? He's a brilliant guy as well. I remember I spent a day with him in Sheffield years ago for Box Nation. Mm-hmm. I won't have a word against him. I hope he's got something left. And if he has, I think he'll absolutely destroy Ruiz. Absolutely wipe him out if he's got anything left. However good the matchup is, I absolutely think. But, you know, look, he's got to fight, even if he's, you know, very much on the back nine. He should beat Lillis. But I think we've got to see how he looks on that night. You could have someone who's got next to nothing left there. And that wouldn't surprise me as much. It wouldn't surprise me that he's still got plenty to offer.
The thing with Ruiz, I think you'll only get the best of him if he feels some sort of danger and some sort of threat. And if you put him in with Joshua, Wilder, Fury's too big. Forget Fury, just box around him for 12 rounds. And Usyk could probably be too clever. But Ruiz against Wilder and Joshua, with those hands and his willingness to trade, because Ruiz will throw with you. He's not scared of taking one to give one. I just think he's made for excitement against those two guys.
Yeah, Ruiz is slightly different to most of the heavyweights out there, isn't he, in that sense, where he can mix it body and head. He'll throw with you, like you said, John. Yeah, so I feel like that's a great fight. And if Wilder does land, like Steve said, he would go to sleep for a while, wouldn't he? So that's the top fight. Yeah, I agree with you.
Right, a quick one for you both. We'll go a few seconds over. A fully fit Ruiz against Joshua in a third fight, who'd win?
Joshua for me.
Lily's thinking here.
Ruiz will beat him, you know that. We've got to look at Joshua at this stage of his career. He's had the Usyk setback since. But you know what? Ruiz must look back on me running over us. So what? We got Aqib Fiaz here. We got a bit of control here. You know what, John? He must look back in his career. When he went to New Zealand and fought Joseph Parker a long time ago, it seems now, Andy Ruiz, how he just went into his shell those last 3 rounds when the fight was there for the winning. What difference might that have made to his career? And Parker won that fight. Parker's career took off from it.
Well, he blew it against Parker and he blew it before the Joshua rematch because he should have beat Joshua in the rematch.
Sorry, John. Oh.
Fine.
He's serious. I tell you what, I'll let you speak and let the year Aqib. He didn't retire for long. Tyson Fury, since we had our break, I think he's off at the fight. Joshua for nothing. He's retired. He's come back. He's retired. He's come back. He's lost he's given up his ring belt, or they've taken it. I don't know. Today he's offered AJ a fight. Look, I think it's one of boxing's worst kept secrets now that he's going to fight in December. That isn't going to happen because if he did fight, it'd have to be on BT, on his terms. But, you know, I just want to get your thoughts on where his career stands right now, all these changes of mind. I mean, Manuel Charles getting chucked about by a few people for December, or possibly Derek Chisora if he takes a bit less money. But you can forget AJ, I think, for December. And you know what? Much as I enjoy it, and he's a bit of fun, Tyson, the whole brand of it, I'm coming a bit bored of it, the way he's changing his mind all the time. And that's the greatest respect to him. I mean, and no one seems to say a word about him changing his mind like he does. But that's him. What do you make of him, Aqib?
Yeah, I mean, he's a top fighter, like you said, and he's proven how good he is. But I feel like the way he goes to and from different scenarios and where he says he wants to do this, and I feel like he's unsure of himself, even though he's as good as he is and he's accomplished as much as he's accomplished. I feel like that mental health thing he went through was obviously very serious, and I feel like sometimes he's still unsure of himself in a certain way, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in an easy fight, because Fury does, everyone knows Fury. He's realistically, he's only ever had the 3 Wilder fights and the Klitschko fight, which were real 50-50s on paper. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came back in a sort of steady fight, and then maybe into a big AJ or Usyk fight in the new year. Yeah,
I'm just glad he's fighting again, But because I was certain.
Did you believe he retired, John?
No, did hell. What I did think he was going to do was come back and fight in wrestle, in WWE. And the other thing that I think was pretty close to being done was fighting the world's strongest man, wasn't it? From who's training in Scotland at the moment. Thor, I think that was pretty close as well. But if Fury comes back and ticks over against Chisora, at least he's staying in shape, he's staying active, and he's keeping his name in the mix. And if we do get a big fight in April or May, at least he won't have ring rust, at least he's kept the momentum going. So, whoever he fights, I'm not bothered, just as long as he actually fights.
I'm wondering, he's insisting he has this fight. Now, I keep hearing, as I said earlier, Cardiff, the big stadium there for December. And as I say, it's not going to be a top opponent. I'm wondering, John, if he's thinking in his mind, I'm going to do that. He was at the wrestling in Cardiff the other night. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go and do the wrestling. Go and do WrestleMania next April or something, and then have a big fight in July. I don't put that above him, because he loves doing the wrestling. And as we mentioned here before, I know people knew when he did that before, he was so serious. Aqib, now it's your turn to lead the way. Round 3, boxing in the Middle East. You're off there.
Yeah, so I just thought it'd be interesting to ask you guys and see what people think. Obviously, it's a new sort of thing in boxing, fighting over there, and before it was all about America, Vegas, LA, and places like that. Whereas now that the Middle East, as we saw, AJ Usyk there, AJ Ruiz too, and more big fights are now there. I just wanted to see what you guys thought of it.
Yeah, you know what? There's been a lot of talk about people shouldn't fight there, and people might want to shoot me down. But I'm of the attitude of, if fighters are getting well paid to go to these places, I'm not going to get involved in politics and all that. And, if they're getting that sort of money, AJ was getting a bit of stick the other week. If he's getting paid good money to go there, come on, it's a money business, prize fighting. It's about money. I don't have a big issue. Where I do have a bit of concern as such is that these places, like Dubai, people are going on holidays and you can make trips to a big fight. Abu Dhabi, Qatar, where there's undoubtedly going to be boxing. These sort of places, people haven't adopted them yet as holiday resorts to go to. So I think the issue is getting, persuading fans to go there to these countries.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I think about it is boxing at the minute in Britain. I think it's pretty shit at the moment. We're struggling to get good shows. You might get a good headliner, but all of it's too diluted. The fighters aren't fighting each other from different promotions. We're having to bring people in. The Sky Show at weekend was a disgrace, and we're getting too much of that. And my worry is that by taking it further away from the fans who've supported the sport for years and years and made it into what it is, suddenly the big fights they want to see, they're not on the doorstep. They can't go to them anymore. And I just hope the interest doesn't begin to dwindle a little bit.
Yeah, I hope these places pick up, but it's a great opportunity. I mean, if someone said to you, Aqib, you're going to go and fight, in Abu Dhabi on the bill of Bivol versus, it's a dream come true. It's ticking off a box for you. For you, that is fantastic.
Experiences. I feel like there's positives and negatives, isn't there? the positives obviously are fighters get opportunities, experiences that, you know, are great experiences, things that, you know, you can enjoy. Because boxing sometimes it's an hard sport. It's the hardest sport in the world, really. But I feel like when you're in Abu Dhabi, it's maybe a little bit easier because the sun and everything. But like you said, the negatives are the fans are here really. And obviously the fights, for example, what was that done?
Oh no, it's coming.
Oh, so I was going to say, like,
I need to turn that down actually.
Round 4, John. The big fight this weekend.
Yeah, Shields and Marshall. And you know what? I know we had Taylor and Serrano, didn't we? I tell you, I spoke to Amanda Serrano the other week. What a good laugh Amanda Serrano is. We'll see her in Britain soon. But I think this is the first true super fight. You know, Serrano and Katie Taylor, it was in New York. Taylor's coming to the end of her career. Serrano wasn't at a natural weight, but we put on a fantastic event, didn't they? But I think this is a true super fight, this, in the women's sport. You've got an out-and-out puncher in Marshall against an out-and-out boxer. You've got a backstory. They don't like each other. It's like a rivalry that spanned 10 years. You'll find people who are 100% Shields, he's going to win on points. You'll have people 100% Marshall's going to knock her out. I think fight week momentum will build. And I think by Saturday night, I think we've got a proper fight on our hands. I think it's the first true super fight we've had in Britain, and maybe the first true super fight of fighters in the peaks in women's boxing, really.
It is. You know what? I was thinking about this fight last week, and the last time we really got close to a super, I mean, we've had Serrano, Taylor and all that, but I think we're talking Serrano out of her weight. Katie won that fight, but slightly over the top. That was a better fight another time. But
it was an event rather than a super.
Yeah, it was an event. The one that got away, and this one hasn't, thankfully, was Lucia Riker, Christy Martin. And Riker would have destroyed her. But that was the fight that always got away in the 90s. Them two ladies were on American pay-per-views all the time. Lewis bills, Martin was on, you know, Riker was on big bills, you know. They were on, you know, Christy Martin in particular was on major card. That was the one that got away. You know what? I think it's a great fight. And as everyone's pointing towards Marshall's power and the fact that she outboxed Shields the first time they fought, that was 11 years ago. Shields has gone on and had that great amateur career since then, winning gold medals, London 2012. You know what? I don't. Most people I'm speaking to have Marshall clear cut. I won't be surprised if Shields really pushed the close. It's going to be really, really close. I think at the end there might be controversy.
Yeah, I feel like amateur boxing and professional boxing are two different sports, so you can't talk about where Marshall beat her. Like said 11 years ago, Steve. I feel like everyone who's saying Marshall's a clear winner could be, you know, sort of giving a false sense of security there. Hopefully she's not listening to it, because I hope she wins, and I want her to win because she's nice. She's a nice girl and stuff, and she's from Britain, obviously. But realistically, it's a top fight. Like you said, it's a super fight, and they're both in their prime. So what a great event for women's boxing. I feel like women's boxing is just growing massively, and from this, it'll benefit massively as well, because like I said, is the undercard all women as well?
Yeah.
I think I saw, yeah. So what opportunities for all the girls coming through it and young girls watching.
John, forward press on. Who are you tipping, John?
Shields.
Yeah, I'm maybe edgy. It's a great fight. Anyway, round 5. Something you might have seen, you would have seen in boxing. I don't know if Aqib's seen boxing news last week. There's been a lot about these so many fights on undercards that are 40-36 all the time now, you know. And you know what? I think it's a problem that there's not a problem, because some of these are learning fights. They're not all, you know, guys just walk in, hands covered up. There's learning fights. There's guys who had layoffs who need these type of fights. You know, you've had them, Aqib. But I think the problem we got is there's too many boxers, and I see a lot in the London area, particularly southern area, who are turning over from the unlicensed, and they sell loads of tickets, and they're not really that great, getting to 9, 10 and 0 and fighting these guys who are knowing they have to go for a walk. I think that's where the problem lays, and that's always going to be there while there's fighters who are on ticket deals who can make a lot of money. I wonder what you guys, because a lot
Yeah, I
of
feel like that's
debate
it's
about
something
this
that
lately.
it's something that will always be there, won't it? Like you said, but I feel like fighters need them. Certain fighters need them, like you say, especially when they come. I'm not slagging unlicensed fighters and stuff, but I feel like they need a bit more of that than some of the amateur boxers that you see coming through. But you know, there is a bit too much, like you say. Sometimes you go to a show and you know that corner is going to win every fight, and it's just not good for the fans, is it? And people pay good money to come to them shows as well. So I feel like it's unfair for them as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? I sort of I do for boxing news, don't I? But I sort of shrugged when I saw that. And Jesus, I've been going to shows for 15 years, and that's how it is. I don't understand why it suddenly was a cover story. The only thing I'd add on to it was there's too many 40-36s on TV.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I think if you on the small hall scene, yeah, that's how it is. You bring people along, you create stars, you build records, and you get them ready for TV. They have to learn, so that's how it is. But when you get onto TV, there shouldn't be any 40-36s or 60-54s. That's the only thing I'd add to it. But yeah, it's the way the sport is, and it's been like that for years.
Yeah, I just think there's too many of these kids now coming through who are selling, who aren't that good, who won't be good enough to go on the road, who are just pure ticket sellers. Yeah. And these guys are being told to go for a walk. You saw it in the Boxing News interview that one of the boxers interviewed said he doesn't try every fight to win. Anyway, round 6 on to something that certainly isn't a 40-36 debate. It's your final topic and the final round, Aqib. Eubank Benn.
Yeah, what a fight. And obviously, I don't really, I wasn't even alive when the dads boxed, and I don't really remember it. But seeing the response it's had, the tickets it's sold, the viewing figures, I'm really excited for this now. And I've actually gone back and watched the dads fights and stuff.
Oh, brilliant!
So I was thinking, what you guys think? Who do you think will win, and how do you think it'll go?
I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot on the pod, but I think Eubank wins. I think it's a brilliant fight, a brilliant event, and for someone who was lucky enough to be at both the fights, the first one in Birmingham on that Sunday night, you had to be there to believe it. All the underhand tricks that were going on, playing with ring music, it was sensational. Just thinking now, I've got a few whiskers there, and face is going red thinking about it. It was brilliant. The Old Trafford one was a bit of a damp squib. The highlight of the night then was a journalist, who I'm not going to name, had a beer too many, trying to break into Eubank's door, dressing room up, and screaming that it was terrible that he got the draw. That was a highlight of the night. The walk back into the city centre weren't too great either. To whatever late it was at night. It's very late out there. The first fight, brilliant. But anyway, just a quick point I want to make. I'm drifting away there. There was a lot made of Eubank being able to make 157. And I think, they played a blinder making this part of the backstory of it. Eubank, look, it's going to be a hard for him. He'll do 157 and not lose a bit. I've got a picture on my phone I'll send to you both later. Eubank, when he fought Liam Williams, his last fight, he weighed 160 pounds. He weighed in with these, I'm 60, so I don't know what they're called. What are the night trainers called that go up to your ankles, whatever they're called? He had them on.
He had a pair of Jordans on, didn't he? Yeah.
Night Jordans on, a pair of jeans, a big belt, and a watch that must have weighed half a pound on him. And that was when he weighed 160. So yeah. I bet he was only 157, 156 that when he weighed in for Liam Williams. So I don't think the weight's a problem. I'm big on Eubank.
Yeah, do you know what I think? Eubank. I was watching that press conference, and I thought he was sensational at that press conference, wasn't he? He just batted everything Ben threw at him away. And you know what? I think him and Callum know that the weight is not an issue whatsoever. I don't think Eubank, would have risked losing to a welterweight by killing himself on the weight. And it's not just any welterweight. It's something he would never be allowed to forget. If Conor Benn beat Chris Eubank is finished, and he'll be reminded of it every day of his life. And I don't think Eubank's the type to give any advantages away and even risk that. I think they know the weight's all right. And I think Eubank's going to do a bit of a job, to be
Do,
perfectly
do,
honest.
do you think Team Benn are sort of banking on the weight being a big problem?
I think they might have done, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
And it might have dawned them, but you know what? I can't. Yeah, John's mentioned this before. And as a fighter, you might appreciate a bit more, and you'll give some insight into this, Aqib. I can't, and I know John's are the same. Conor Benn, the job Matchroom have done with Conor Benn, matching him, is sensational. You know, to get where he is after how he looked his early career, he's developed in the gym, he's lived a life, he's developed with the right fights at the right time. You know, he was probably only 2 more wins off a world title fight. And if you get the right world title, you can keep it. And you know how, pretty much how Eddie Hearn worked with Chris Eubank Sr., got him that WBO super middleweight and milked it. They could have kept him winning. He could have become a pay-per-view star on the zone. But he goes into this fight, he loses. We know he's a lot smaller. But the man in the street will just think, oh, he lost to Eubank. They're not going to realise.
Yeah. I feel like, though, for Benn, it's a win-win situation. I feel like the core boxing fans and the real boxing world will know that he's lost against the middleweight. So it's not really that denting for him. However, if he wins, it's massive. And from there, he'll get massive fights as well, I think. So I don't think he unless he looks really bad and gets smashed within a round or two, I feel like he can't lose.
I think against any other middleweight, you could say that, but Eubank's probably, top 15 middleweight? I'd say in the world, pushing the top 10 maybe, and it's Eubank. And if Benn gets beat off him in bad fashion, then he's been beat in bad fashion off a top 15 guy, not a world champion. This isn't Brook and Golovkin. This is Benn against the top 15 guy you've crucified on weight or attempted to. And it's that name forever linked, Benn Eubank. It's going to be very, very hard to shake off, I think, for the casual fan, if it's a one-sided thing. I think the way Benn fights means it's going to be exciting, isn't it? So he's going to come out with it with credit, whatever. But I can't wait for it. What an event.
I think that Benn, that they will grit that Eubank will come out knowing for them first 2-3 rounds, Benn is going to come at him, soak it up, and then just take over and stop him by about 7 rounds. That's what I think. But you know what? The fact that we're talking about this, you wanted to talk about this on the pod, Aqib. The fact we're talking about this so excitedly a long way out shows how much it's going to take over our lives fight week.
It's grips is all on it,
I bet you're getting asked now. You'll have friends, Aqib, who know you're a boxer and acquaintances, and they would have mentioned this fight to you.
Yeah. People asking me for tickets, and I'm like, I wish I want to go, but I need some tickets myself. Yeah, it's mad. I feel like it's one of the best British boxing fights we've seen in a long time.
Can
you imagine the atmosphere in the O2 at 10 o'clock on that Saturday night?
Imagine the Sweet Caroline.
But you know what? As I said, it goes back that first fight in Birmingham on that Sunday night. The atmosphere there, I think it was 11 or 12,000 in there. You would have thought there was 32,000. The O2 is going to be rampant that night. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be the best atmosphere there's ever been in the O2 for a boxing match.
Yeah.
We've had Joshua nights there.
Something else people should watch in the build-up to this is when they put Eubank and Benn in the Gladiator training school in Rome and had them dressed as gladiators.
I watched that, yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I saw clips of it on YouTube, yeah.
I tell you what, though.
They kick off at one point, don't they?
Yeah. You know what? I'm a lot older than you two. Well, well older than John, and I'm nearly quadruple older than you. Them two, when I cut, you know what? You're talking about it now, and I was so lucky to be able to cover their careers. I feel blessed to have been around them two. Eubank fucking hated me. I don't know why. He didn't like me. Remember one day when there was a press conference, I might have been at Tottenham's ground before the Watson rematch. And for no reason, he walked up to me and said, Lillis, you could crawl under a snake with a top hat on. and Nigel, you never knew what you were going to get. 1 minute, if he was in a good mood, it was hugs and kisses. But if Nigel got out of bed the wrong way that morning, mate, anybody. But I think that they've both mellowed, I think, in their age, and they're good men, and I like the pair of them, I do. The dads. I like them a lot.
Yeah. I've watched a few videos of Nigel Benn training, and what an intense guy. Like you say, I can imagine him not knowing what you're going to get, because he's a nice guy away from the ring, innit? But in training, he looked like a monster, and in his fights as well. So, yeah, you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him, would you?
I went out to Tenerife. I think it might have been before he fought Henry Wharton when he was training. They did a press trip, and he had 3 or 4 sparring partners. And what he'd do with them, he'd have Steve Foster was out there, Tony Booth, and what he'd do, you know, because of the intensity, as you point out how he trained, there'll be 5. He'd be doing 6 rounds, and they'd only do 1 round each a day. There'll be 6 partners out there at them, or 4, and one might do 2 rounds one day. And he'd go flat out for 3 minutes on one of them, absolutely flat to the balls. Then he'd get out and you'd have your rest. But for that 3 minutes, you was earning your dough. And at the end of every night, he would go to them. Steve Foster will tell you this story, John, or if you ever bump into Aqib. Every night, there was a bar there in Tenerife, and Nigel would go over the road and buy them their first pint every night, buy them a pint and go back to his apartment.
No way.
Yeah.
That is mad.
1 round a day. Jeez.
Yeah, 1 round a day. They might have done 2. There was Steve Foster, Tony Booth, Jimmy Tibbs was training, and he was that intense in training those 3 minutes. And Ben Nigel would do his nut. There'd be someone like Tony Booth, the journeyman, would just get out and light a fag by the ring. It was an outdoor training. And Ben would be doing his pieces.
No way.
But I tell you what, we've only got about 2 minutes left on this. We've gone on and on and on tonight. It's been a really good podcast. We've loved having you on, Aqib. We'll have to have you on again once you've had your little soiree to Abu Dhabi. John,
Definitely.
thanks as always. Anything else anyone wants to say?
No, it's cool.
Any other boxing topics you want to shout out quick? Are you all happy?
Well, people watching VIP on Saturday night, we've got another of the Fury clan making his debut, haven't we? Roman Fury.
Roman Fury, yeah. That's what I'm told. Tyson's popping along there, and Tommy, they're going to be there Saturday night. But thanks,
everyone. On VIP, you'll get to see his debut next week, won't you?
Thanks very much, everyone, for listening. Thanks most of all to John and Aqib, and we'll see you all next week. And if he's got a date, I think it might be Zelfa Barrettwood he's lining up for us next week. Thanks, everybody, and the biggest thanks of all to you, Aqib, for joining us tonight.
No problems at all, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.